Kia ora, morena. Oh, so happy Matariki. I know it's not, I know in New Zealand it's a winter thing, and I'm here in the UK and it's summer, but it's my new year and I'll celebrate it the way I want to. Thank you very much. So I'll celebrate it regardless of what hemisphere I'm in. So it is, a time for connecting with your ancestors and your dearly departed. And they all gather around um, in circles in the sky in little clusters and little groups. And they watch you perform on stage while you sing and you tell stories and you talk to them and you um, act like there's no gap between you and them and the stars that they've become since they crossed over. So I filmed that film last night. Went to throw my wish out, and you'll recall I was saying that the stars took the form of a swallow and then a whale. Um, in my grandmother tree dream that I had since I was little, when I got to the tree, I put my face up to her bark and I say Cheti Wahi, which I later found out is I think Algonquin, tribal nation for family. It's the word for family or returning to family, like I'm home family, I'm home ancestor. It was the coolest thing to find out that that was actually a real word and a First Nations one. So I think I'm pretty sure it's Algonquin for family or like returning to family or something. And then the red rivers behind the tree, which I then figured out yesterday is Iran. So because ancestors and all of that, it's the 24-hour period of you having that phone call with all of your ancestors in one go. All of your genetic ancestors are all there in one go. It's really important. You get to um, plant your roots again and feed off the goodness of the soil and that connection. It recharges your batteries. It reminds you that you're not alone. It reminds you who's waiting when you die. It reminds you who's watching over you while you're living. And our new year brings all of that together, and we tell stories and we sing songs and we talk to our ancestors as though they're sitting right there. And you know what? To white people, to certainly to the British, if I had have told the doctors stuff like that, they would have upped my medication. And it's absolutely disgusting, really, that we're being denied our right to heal simply because someone with a medical degree disagrees with how you're doing it. Would he tell a priest or a Catholic or a Jew or a Muslim not to do their ritual of genuflexing or getting down on the rug and facing east? And so how come an Indigenous person isn't allowed to talk to the sky when they're seeing their grandfather, Ranganui, or their great grandparents or their great 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 grandparents or the ones that came over on the boats 4 generations ago, going all the way back to Egypt, going all the way back to Scotland, going all the way back to France and Spain? Why can't we talk to them? Since when did that become an issue? We've been doing it for thousands of years. People go into churches and talk out loud to God, to Jesus. So why can't we do it? Because it's healing, and there's messages that they have for you that help you grow as you go. And this journey as a human is not easy. We're expected to learn more in the first 5 years of our life than any other point in our living history. There's a lot of pressure on us to get this journey right so that the next one isn't so hard, because clearly we did things in past lives, and our ancestors in that, where any hard times that we have in this life has been placed on us for a reason, because we have to fix it. We're the ones that have been chosen to fix it. Now is the time for us to fix the things in our lives that we don't like about ourselves, including who we're living with, who we're around, who we associate with, what we eat, what we wear, how we conduct ourselves, the choices and decisions we make. And it's hard. It's a hard life. Being a human, animals don't have it as hard as us. Plants and Mother Nature don't have it as hard as us. They perfected their evolution with us. They've completed their cycles. We're the ones that are still morphing and changing. The only other ones that seem to be morphing and changing as fast as like cats and dogs, with their ability to be able to start communicating now. So to Indigenous people it means something, and we're trying to teach the Western world you don't need drugs and alcohol. And if it's drugs, like, it's going to come from the earth and it's there to help you. These things are here to help you. Papa Tuanuku, Mother Nature, Grandmother Earth, Gaia, whatever you want to call her, she was put here with things to heal everything wrong with our bodies. Anything that can go wrong with our bodies, she's got the medicine for it. Anything that can go wrong with our minds, she's got the way to tap us into it, so that we can go back to a place of healing and peace and comfort. And for Indigenous people, that's our ancestors. And our planet is our ancestor. She's a living, breathing ancestor. And so when it was coming up to midnight for the start of Māori New Year, I went out, you saw me videotape it, and the swallow turned up. And then a whale. And I just wanted to explain what these meant, because in my grandmother dream, when she says, turn right at the coyote or the wolf, turn right at the wolf, because wolves and coyotes mean the same thing, but like wolves are your teacher and coyotes teach you a lesson, depending on how good you study. And it can be, it can lead to karma or dharma. It seals your fate. And then to get on the horses, ride the horse and follow the horses to the animals. And when I get to the animals, I've got to look up. And so last night I got to the animals. I saw I got the cue for that the horses were there on something that I saw on X. And then I went outside and I looked up and I saw the swallow and the whale. So interpreting that, the swallow is the totem for the mating ritual, for courting, for choosing your partner, for falling in love, for honing in on that person that you know is the one you're going to spend the rest of your life with, and then you are never parted. That's totem swallow. They are all about the male, especially if he's the one that's pursuing. I mean, men are the ones who are supposed to do the pursuing. A woman is never supposed to pursue a man. It's unladylike. A woman doesn't conduct herself like that. She does not go to bars and hang out by herself waiting for a man to buy her a drink. That's not what a woman does. A woman does not approach men. That's the man, and that's totem swallow. The man's the one that builds the nest. The man is the one. The male swallow doesn't leave her side the second they're together, And when she's pregnant and that, like, he's there. And when she lays those eggs, like, he's there, he feeds her, he like covers her, he protects her, he's there, man. He's the ultimate husband, the ultimate father, the ultimate grandfather, because Totem Swallow is all about family. Now, female totem can go off and flip with other birds, but he will always stay at the nest and be loyal. Now, I want to say that that would never happen. Like, that's not. I just have to add it in there because I don't want people to be like, yeah, but the female goes off and cheats on the. Well, apparently they must have an open relationship, but that's not. That's not my cup of tea, if you know what I'm saying. I'm monogamous. I'm a ride or die. Once I commit to you, I commit to you for life, and that's it. I'm very much swan and lobster like that. So, um, yeah. So totem swallow are also like laying down plans for the future. A totem swallow person is the sort of person that when you go on a date with them, they'll want to know what your plans are for the future. Do you plan on having children? How do you feel about building a home as opposed to buying a brand new one? Like he or she will want to know very matter of factly, because as well, you're talking about Gemini season 2, and we, even though we're Gemini season going into Cancer, so it's very much about making plans for laying down foundations for the future. That's Swallow Totem. So, obviously, whoever it is that I've manifested is someone who's very matter of fact, and by the book. Like, he likes to know where he stands with everything. He likes to. It's almost like it helps him manifest, to know exactly what it is he's got to manifest. He likes to. Like a step by step plan, very diligent, because he's the sort of person that when he does it, he only wants to do it once. Like that, like even if he's had multiple marriages or something, he's like, this is it, this is the last time. Not the sort of person that likes to tear their lives apart and have to start again. So they like to make very planned, almost pedantic, almost to the point of being pedantic. That would be Gemini Cancer, Gemini cusp Cancer, because we're flowing into that Cancer ether now, because you can feel it, because it's all about hearth and home and family and falling in love and courting and mating. So he's somebody who likes to plan dates. I'm going to ask her out. I've been studying her. I know that she likes picnics in the park. So, but I know she likes to sit under the stars. So I'm going to ask to take her out on a date. I'm going to ask her son's permission first. And then I'm going to ask to take her out on a date, and we're going to go on a picnic under the stars. And I'm going to pack this, like he's that kind of, that's totem swallow, that's hot. For me personally, that's hot, because that's exactly what I'm like. Apparently, people say I'm the best person in the world to travel with, because I have everything, like my itinerary is set, like to within 15 minutes of each other. My itinerary is set and I don't deviate. And so if you're like, one of these people who's a bit of a pack your bag at the last minute thing, and then, panic with your hair half brushed, rushing to the airport while you're still trying to put your clothes on, that doesn't happen with me. Everybody says I take the pressure off them for travel, especially like if I book the holiday, and I'll book the excursions, and like I plan everything meticulously. I would have been fantastic as a travel agent. People could have come to me and I would have said, what are you looking for? And then I would have had that itinerary for them down perfectly. which is why I need to go into the tourism and hotel and like food and beverage and tourism industry. Um, it's my thing. I know how to take the pressure off people when it comes to travel. I know how to look after them with good food, and I know if they need quiet, I know if they need to talk, I know if they need to just let their hair down, like, I'm very intuitive like that, and I mix the menus to suit the moods, to suit the seasons, and it becomes just like this incredible ambient flow of just good energy and peace and quiet, and people just, they come to me and they feel relaxed, even if they're getting absolutely rat-faced drunk and they're karaokeing all night to the point where they lose their voices, and that when they leave feeling relaxed and with a full belly, and and that swallow totem, the perfect, my ancestors could not have picked a more perfect totem. They picked the perfect time to put swallow in that message between Gemini and Cancer season. Absolute pinpoint perfect. And so I know, as an Indigenous person, when I put my wish out, my ancestors are saying, this is your response. This is who we've picked for you. So you can narrow it down. He's a very earthy person. He likes animals, he likes nature, he likes the water. He likes to be free in nature. There's it's like me, like cabin in the woods, having a cabin in the woods, somewhere you can go just to let it all go and just recharge your batteries, for Indigenous people especially. And don't forget, Indigenous people also includes people from like Finland and Norway and Greenland and Iceland and all of that. So the Irish are Indigenous. So don't think that Indigenous means that you got to have brown skin. I'm Polynesian Indigenous, but I'm also Celtan, Pict and Viking Indigenous. I wish I knew what part of Viking lands, what part of Scandinavia and that my ancestors came from before they made babies with the Spanish and created the Irish. So yeah, so swallow totem, perfect totem. So that grandmother dream I had when I was 4 or 5 years old, I think I worked out I was technically about 4, somewhere between 4 and almost 5. Everything has played out like a perfect timeline. The whale totem is, the prophecy of the whale rider. The whale is ancestors, the original ancestors. The ones who are the whole reason why you are walking this planet Earth. The ones that were still in the water millions of years before we even knew we could get out of the water and breathe. Ancient ancestors, the ones who created us, the ones who knew exactly what they were doing, who make up part of the Council of Elders, the wisest of our ancestors. And they're the ones you talk to when you need advice, or you need wisdom, or you need calm and peace. Like where you just need to sit and get things off your chest. God's the one you go to when you need someone to yell at. He takes all of that, but your ancestors are the ones you go to when you just need to release and get stuff off your chest, because they understand. And they're there to lighten your load. And then, after the new year, after Matariki is over, You know, they go back, they move on to lighten your load, because they remove your burdens. They take your burdens away. They, you know, whatever you've got on your shoulders, whatever baggage you have, they take it off you for you. So you end up with a lighter load. You feel so much better. And we're being denied that because apparently that's a mental illness. Or is it just because we don't need drugs and shrinks? In order to be happy. And a lot of us now, I've noticed on YouTube, there's someone who's been popping up on my YouTube. I can't remember him, but I've liked a couple and commented on a couple of his videos, and that a lot of us are turning back to our roots. A lot of us are turning our back on the Western world now. I'm starting to do the same. I'm not a city person. I maybe could tolerate a suburb if I was on the outer skirts of it. I don't mind. In fact, you know, I would welcome visit from neighbours, but I don't want to be so close on their doorstep. I can hear them going to the bathroom or having conversations with each other. You know, like I need my privacy. I want to be able to have the right to make as much noise as I want, to sit out under the stars and talk to my tupuna, my ancestors, and not feel self-conscious about it, because white people are looking at me thinking that crazy woman's talking to herself. Well, try it. If your mum and your dad were standing right in front of you in the flesh, you'd be talking to them. So why stop talking to them just because the flesh has vanished? Their conscience is still there. They're still there talking to you. They're still there reaching out. Just because their body is no more doesn't mean their essence has vanished. So, to Indigenous people, we don't need to have our loved ones in the flesh in order to feel like they're there because they're in our blood. Because once you're family to us, your blood, you know, that's what the word clan means. Clans were made up of the waifs and strays and stragglers of like outer villages and that kind of didn't have anywhere to go, but maybe needed protection, so they formed clans and they had each other's backs, just like they do on, you know, video game clans. It's just like that. That's the original word for clan. And so when you're loved by people like us, you become part of our clan. You're our family, you know, and you stick together and you have each other's back and you look after each other and you raise each other's kids in a way where you've got an eye on them, but you're not interfering, and you don't interfere unless you have to. You know, so you keep yourself to yourself. So yeah, I absolutely wouldn't mind visits from neighbours as long as they let me know. Don't just pop up, because if I'm in my creative mode, like if I'm sitting writing and I'm coming up with something that's like just awesome, and then I get snapped out of a knock on the door or something like that, it's quite energetically frazzling to be pulled out of that state of high concentration, and it can make people like snap, get jumpy, get anxious, maybe even get like a little emotional, even lose their temper, get angry, because it's like a shock to the system. Because when you're in that flow state of creativity, when you're absolutely tapped into that flow state, it is such a high of peace and love and nurturing and connection, and that like it's euphoric. That's what nirvana feels like. That's what euphoria feels like when a creative person is in that flow state. So when there's like a loud knock on the door or a loud voice or something you're not expecting, it can be quite a shock to the system. So whale totem is perfect for that sort of thing because they are the totem for grounding, like oak trees. And water, there's nowhere water can't go. Water's out in the universe. Water's everywhere. Water's like our oldest element, is mankind's oldest element. But, sorry, my ear's itchy. So, yeah. So whale totem, they carry your burdens, they lighten your load. They are your ancestors. They're the ones who put you through everything you're going through to help everybody else in the family because they know you're the ones who are strong enough to do it. And they're hoping you don't let them down. A lot of people turn their backs on healing childhood wounds and past life traumas and all of that because they don't. It's too much hard work to have to admit that they made mistakes, have faults, made some bad choices. And then a lot of it, you don't deserve, but a lot of it, when you look at the karma side of it, you got to be honest and think, okay, I can see why I had to go through that, and I probably deserved it. Or if that's what was decided I needed to go through in order to learn a lesson from that, then I can't argue because it's making me a better person. You got to be that honest. That's whale. Like whales don't hide nothing. They will go to the deepest levels. They will go all the way down. Just like water. Water can fit in anywhere in the smallest cracks and crevices. Water can chip away at massive mountains and create masterpieces from rock that were once towering mountains to just exist as like a little cove of rocks on the side of the beach just because the water was persistent and got down to the nitty gritty of what that mountain was in its inner core. That's water, that's whale. And that's why Matariki is so important to us, because it's the one time of the year where we just let it all go. And I'm absolutely not going to let anyone, no matter how expensive their medical degree is, tell me that there's something wrong with that just because they're the sort of person that would rather have the quick fix and take a pill or have a shot of whiskey or snort something or self-harm with toxic sexual behaviour. Because I'm telling you now, a lot of those doctors have a lot of repressed anger, they're sadistic. There's a sadism there. So yeah, I'd love to sit and analyse them all. I'd do a far better job of it, I can tell you. So so whale totem. When animals start persistently popping up in your life, whether it's in a song, like you could be going about your business and you see a rabbit on the side of the road, and then you'll see a rabbit pop up on the TV, and then rabbit will pop up in a song, and then you'll see someone wearing something with a rabbit on it, and you just see rabbit, 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 rabbit. Look it up, because it's a message. You're being told something. Look up the totemic value of rabbit because you're being told something. The animal might not even be your totem. Your totems, you start having them from childhood. They're animals you can't escape no matter how hard you try. They're there consistently. And then when you ascend, you will be presented with animal totems, and it's always presented first in your dreams, and then you'll start seeing them in real life. And when what you see in the dreams aligns with what you're being presented in real life, that's when you know that you've been offered this animal or this plant or this fruit or this vegetable. Because let's not forget, totems aren't just animals and birds and reptiles and fish and all that. They're also trees and flowers and plants and herbs and fruit and vegetables. They all have like rivers, streams, everything in its current form, animal, mineral, or vegetable, all has a totemic value, and elemental all has a totemic value. And when you learn to read the signs, when you start to understand, when they just start dropping messages in your lap like that, the amount of healing that it does to your soul, it's like, how can I explain it? I can only explain it with a sound of like, oh, that euphoria, nirvana. It's an oasis of spiritual calm, because it's like the universe is listening, and when the universe is listening, you know you're being heard. But what's so friggin' cool about it is when they reply, when they answer back. And yet, you know, NASA and the military and all that want us to believe that UFOs have to bang some metal together and put a suit on and jump in a UFO to travel all that way to beam out radio signals with, you know, fly ships around Texas with big sparkly lights on it, running around people's backyards with these big comedy foam heads on. We're supposed to believe that they have to do all that in order to communicate, when all we have to do is talk to them, because they're there anyway. They're part of the great expansion. They're part of our ascension process. They're our council of elders. They're the ones who figured it out a long time ago, what it is we're supposed to be doing. They figured it out so long ago, there's nothing left on their planet. That's how long they figured it out ago. That you're supposed to stop fighting wars and killing each other and working together to build stuff to get us off the planet. Because there's way cooler stuff on the other side. But the only way you can get there is to be energetically light enough to go through those wormholes. So that's what I'm trying to do with my space program. My navigation system, the Red Lil is the navigator. I want to call my shuttles like navigators, but I want, like how Scania and what are they called? How, not Scania, oh, those trucks, they name their trucks after women, and it's become like a big thing. It's become like a big deal to get your name put on a truck. They're green. Oh my God, I can't remember. They're famous, like, I think they're a British truck company, but I think they're all over the world. But yeah, they name their trucks and they put the name on the side of the truck. So my navigator shuttles, my one's going to be called, the one that goes up is going to be called Red Lil. So, swallows and totems. It's the ancestors saying, come home. We're building a home for you on the other side. Come and join us. So that's what we've got to do, people. We've got to stop fighting each other. My space program, my retreat, my foundation retreat, is going to have so much to offer people where they can just step through those gates and go, and then I really need to get my space program off the ground because I'm a navigator and we need to see what's out there so I can know what direction we're supposed to be pointing in. Once I see it, like physically see it, I know what direction to point us in, and then the next generation can take it from there. The North Star cadets of tomorrow can take it from there. And I'll have my MENA, my gaming system chair, where the average everyday person can be a part of space exploration without even having to leave their homes. So I just looked up. The animals led the way. I read the message, and it is clear. E.T. phone home. E.T. been called home. So not bad for one crazy Indigenous woman's New Year's Eve connection with her ancestors, eh? Pretty cool, really. Okay, I'm going to make another coffee. I will speak to you later. So now you know what swallow totem and whale totem are. And when I get my radio show, I'll be able to do, like, we'll call it the totem show, where I'll teach you about animal totems and plant totems and all of that. And you can ring in and be like, I had a strange encounter with a bullfrog. Can you tell me what that means? Like, and it did this and blah, blah, blah. Or I had this animal in a dream, and I'll be able to tell you exactly what it means and what the message is. So, and I know from my blogging that what a lot of people like to do is take all my information and print it off, and then they made their own binders and encyclopedias and that, so that whenever they needed to reference something, they could just go through their files. So it's a great way to learn. And then when I bring out my tarot cards and my training deck, my folk deck, my Force Open the Eye deck, a lot of my listeners and that will be ready to train with the cards, and you never know, they might even be able to make a bit of money as card readers in my foundation at the retreat. So because we're going to have like a whole cafe where you come in to have your tea leaves and coffee cup and palms and tarots read. So, and I want to have like guest tarot readers, and so help the genuine ones make a bit of extra money. Instead of having to compete with the frauds like Santaro. So when I move people like her out of the way, it means that the genuine ones have some room to breathe, because they're not having to compete with the frauds, and they, deserve the respect. And if it helps them make extra money and, get more clients and stuff and get their name out there, then I'm happy to do it for them. Because a lot of them let me test them out. A lot of them let me train on them and they didn't even know it. So the least I can do is pay it back by saying, let me put you in the limelight. So when you come to my retreats, when you come to my place to stay, my motels, hotels, whatever, we got the whole thing sorted from top to bottom, from grounding you with the connection of all the people that you've buried before you were even born, up through to your body, the core of your fibre of your being, your conscious self, your emotional side, your intuition, your occult side, your religious side, your psychological beliefs, all of it, like all of it's just going to be completely released by the time you leave, and you're just going to feel amazing. Even if you just sat in your room and ordered food the whole time, you're still going to leave feeling amazing, because everything I create is biorhythmically infused. So I'm going to go now and get myself some breakfast. I will speak to you later, And yeah, until next time, ka kite anō. Mwah.